Alright guys and gals, welcome to E-Rev TV. I am Pat, the Twiz Harrison, and I know it's a little bit late here as it is now 2:07 a.m., but by request I have been asked to go ahead and do a quick replay, since the new replay system is up, of a League of Legends match. So here we go, as we're going to be looking at Team Tibbers. So let's go ahead and get that going for you here. And get that up and on the air. So right now, Team Tibbers. Just let me get my mic repositioned here. It's going to fall over. So, Team Tibbers is going to be the team that we're looking at that's going to be the purple side here, as they have Jana, Corky, Vladimir, Udyr, and Cho'Gath going to be taking on... Oops, and we hear the fail train in the background here. And the blue team, this is a ranked game here, so they have Nunu, Nasus, Taric, Akali, and Shen. So those are going to be all the players here. So we're waiting for everything to get loaded up here in game, so we can get this started and underway here. So a lot of people go by the whole concept on skins. Well, yeah, I don't necessarily mean that it's going to be a GG right away. But, of course, skins do mean that you play that player enough that you're willing to commit some money to picking up the skin for it. So you must enjoy playing it. And we're just waiting for a couple more summoners to load up here. So let's look at a little bit of guessing what lane assignments are going to be. Probably going to be seeing Corky in the middle. Vladimir soloing top lane. Udyr, of course, going to be in the jungle. Cho'Gath, Jana at the bottom lane. And for the opposing team here, which is the blue side, we're going to be seeing a Nunu taking the jungle for those guys there. Nasus, Taric, Akali, and Shin. So Akali most likely going to be the player that's up in middle against Corky. Shen and Taric both at the bottom lanes. You'll probably see Nasus trying to go for the farm up at the top. So immediately Team Tibbers beginning to go towards the bottom lane here, where they're either going to be setting up a gank on a buff, possibly going for the gank on red buff, or they're going to be setting up to defend the blue. So a little bit about the details here. Obviously, with the nerfs that we've seen in the past here, Doran's items still going to be used to start, but you're not going to be seeing those items accompanied with a health potion as you normally would. Now you just see just the Doran's items themselves. So Jana picking up the Doran's ring, Corky picking up the Doran's blade, Vladimir with the Doran's shield, Cho'Gath with the ring as well, and then of course the typical jungle thing here for Udyr as he picks up the cloth armor 5 health pots. And very similar instances on the other side here is Akali, who I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that's going to be their middle solo, picking up a Doran's blade as well to hopefully pair up and match against Corky. Taric with the mana manipulator. And oh my god, they do run into... they're running into Taric down here at the bottom lane. Immediately they're chasing after him. Taric being forced to ghost away. The team immediately following up with their ghosts, but not able to commit to the fight. So, with that in mind, these guys, looks like Vladimir going to be TPing out. Possibly going to try to grab a health pot with a little bit of the gold that he has left there. Clairvoyance again going on to the blue buff where we see Nunu and Akali both there, but knowing that everybody's over here, Nunu's going to be pretty safe to go ahead and take that blue buff down. We do see Vladimir not able to pick up the health pot with his gold, but as he is now going towards the top lane. So Vladimir's going to be your solo at the top lane. Shen now going towards the red buff to see what's going on. These guys shouldn't have a problem snagging this red buff and then getting out of there. So they're not even going after Shen. Nasus, the champion in the middle now. So, a little different than what I thought it would be. Honestly, I would have seen... Okay, there we go. Akali going back towards the middle. These guys are taking this red buff, so that's going to slow Nunu's jungle down just a little bit. Nasus is making his way towards the top, so he will be taking the solo. Shen, Taric at bottom lane. The one thing that Akali's going to have a lot of trouble with here in the middle is going to be Corky, and her able to get a comparable CS throughout the beginning and the middle part of this match. So Corky with his Phosphorus Bomb is a great use against melee as well as DPS champions to basically give them that chance of missing. As well, we're looking at range versus melee here, so Corky's got the ability to harass back in the middle lane. So, down to the bottom here, already we're seeing Taric taking a few shots on health here. Taric and Shen is you know, not a devastating lane. It's a very light lane DPS-wise, but a very sustainable lane. Both champions very tanky, and both with a way to heal. The Vorpal Blades are very nice, but Shogath with a strong harass and Janna with a strong harass as well may give these guys a little bit of a difficult challenge. So, since this new replay thing's out, I'm actually able to hit tab and give you guys a little bit of rundown on CS right now. Corki's sitting at 12 creep kills, Akali's sitting at 2, so Corki definitely doing a good job there in middle, sustaining that lane, and keeping Akali from picking up any of those, or very few of those minion kills in those last hits, which are going to push her back and definitely offset her farm. Nasus may have some trouble up against Vladimir here, as he does pick up a Doran's shield, so he does have some health regeneration, but still a lag of health pots early in the game can force a champion like this back, and not allow them to gain the EXP and commitment in the lane. So wow, all the way action at the bottom here is Tarek getting away with very, very low health. Sorry I missed that there, but man, he was just in some trouble there and barely able to escape that. Janna with low health as well, but Shogath doing a lot of harassing back here. Tarek with a heal onto Shen. And Clairvoyance there as they're able to pick up Nunu at the Wraith spawn. Corki going in for a couple little pokes there, forcing him back out of that. So Tarek going to stay in this series. He does still have some mana. He's going to be able to toss out a couple heals to keep himself up. So right now, obviously, the early stages here, we're going to see a lot of focus around Dragon here. And more stuff going on there at the bottom as we do see Tarek with a stun. And that's not going to do much here. So these guys really need to work on getting in there for last hits. Because I'm sure if I look here, Tarek is at 5 last hits, Shen is at 8. Compared to Janna and Shogath, who are now at 9 and 8. So they're falling slightly behind in creep score. Which is exactly what you want here. And that's the benefit that you gain from this lane, is Janna being the ranged champion here, able to zone and harass these guys back. So what I did notice there is Vladimir already at 25 creep kills against Nasus at 17. Nasus does have Spirit Fire, making it very easy for him to farm here. Now we see a Nunu coming down towards the bottom. Nunu is in that bush. I don't know if they had a chance to see him there, but I just barely caught that glimpse of it on my mini-map as he is sitting in the bush there. And there we go, Nunu committing himself to this fight here. He is now chasing down Shogath. Shogath with the silence and the pop-up. And now being stunned. And now he's getting taunted from Shen as well. And he is just taking a little bit of damage here and forcing himself out of the fight. Udyr quickly reacting to that as he has now came back towards the bottom laner, and they have ghosted out here, and Shen is now has an exhaust onto him, a knockup from Janna, and he's going to be going down. First blood going to Janna, getting that additional amount of gold here, and we did see Shen just drop there. Great response from Udyr as you see him quickly coming out of the jungle, realizing that Nunu was there, and basically they turned that gank into a counter gank here. Now they're on to Nunu, and he's very, very low health, trying to run away, blood boil off, and he's going to barely be able to escape out of range of those attacks. So these guys are going to be forced to go back. Janna, I believe, going back as well. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what she does here. A lot of times you'll see support champions stack items such as just Doran's rings because they don't require a lot of farm. So that might be something that we see throughout this match. Still kind of an old-school tactic, but for champions like Janna, it's definitely something that works. You get your health, you get your mana regen, and you get a little bit of AP with it. Because you don't need her with a lot of items. She's not an item-dependent champion. Let that farm go to Shogath, and just buy what you have to buy. So let's take a look at middle now, as we are here at Corki. Corki already with 40 CS against the 10 CS from Akali. So completely dominating Akali there in middle, Valkyrie away from that attack from Akali. But as I'm saying here, Corki doing just a solid job here in the middle part and keeping Akali from getting this farm. And that's really going to hold her back. Akali needs a strong early game farm to be able to deliver results in the late game. And without that, she's just going to end up being useless. She's not going to have what it takes to be able to put out enough DPS to really take this team down. And if you look at this team, they can all be tanky just because of Janna. So not only do you have Vladimir, Udyr, and Shogath with their 3 naturally tanky champions, but you have Janna and Corki, who they can have that shield on there and immediately get that extra damage mitigated as well as that extra damage output. In the middle here, we're seeing Nunu as well as Akali pushing up here and trying to do some tower damage. Corki back up here, and there we're seeing Corki using his ultimate, trying to push these guys back and away from there. now chasing down Nunu. Nunu sitting at half health. Corky missing that Valkyrie over. You see the going for Valkyrie to Gatling gun, but not able to leap up and over that cliff, or that would have really put Nunu in a lot of trouble here. And he is still chasing Flash into him now. And he is at very, very low health. I don't know what Nunu is doing. The Nunu bot or something like that, and he has dropped down. Not before Akali was able to take down Udyr, though, as we had missed that. I was too focused on watching Corky chase that down. Now we're seeing Corky going after Akali, just trying to do a little bit of love tap there and keep her back. She does not have any kind of items for healing right now. So she's sitting at 539 health. So if Corky's able to continually harass her, he's going to push her out of the lane and gain that lane control that he's looking for early on in this game. 2-1 right now in favor of Team Tibbers, which is playing on the purple side right now, as we're seeing Corky again chasing after Akali. So back down to the bottom lane, we see a switch going on right now as Tarek has been pushed towards the top lane, Nasus rotating towards the bottom lane. And a reason that we're going to see that is, Tarek, again, as I was explaining to you about Janna earlier, Tarek's not an item-dependent champion, so he can sit back and try to keep Vladimir back, but basically not feed Vladimir kills. And be able to sustain the lane. Nasus is a champion that needs farm. Nasus has to have the items. He has to have his Trinity Force. It's just stuff that he has to build up to be able to deliver a late game. So that's why you're going to see him rotate to the bottom and using Shen as a babysitter. And basically that's going to allow him the opportunity to try to farm up a little bit. So it's not a very uncommon switch, and I kind of seen it coming there as Vladimir, with a very, very strong harass throughout this game, was able to push him back. So right now we are... We're about to hit the 9-minute mark here, and as we are at the 9-minute mark, 58 creep kills out of Corky, 60 creep kills out of Vladimir, the two highest creep scores in the game right now, as they're paired up against Nasus, who had 38, and Akali only sitting at 17 right now. Both Akali and Corky, the middle champions, with 1 kill. Akali falling slightly behind in level now, and a Nunu coming out of the jungle here. And again, we're just seeing a lot of continuing harassing down here at the bottom lane as they're trying to keep these guys back from gaining any farm. Taunton from Shen onto Janna. Janna being forced back here. You're seeing her Whirlwind come up to keep these guys back. Shield's going on to Cho'Gath, so Cho'Gath can do a little bit of damage and harass and force these guys back. Looks like a little bit more action in middle, as we do see Nunu there with Akali. Excuse me there. So these guys health botting at the bottom. Back towards the top, Vladimir and Tarek. Vladimir's just going to gain all this free farm off of these guys, and that's not going to be good. Something needs to happen in top lane. Vladimir needs to be ganked. I see Akali trying to play a little bit aggressive in middle. I think she's low on health right now, as we're seeing Corky trying to poke at this, and she is getting out of there. She's at 280 health, but Udyr cannot commit to that because the tower's going to be there and they will just die. But some more stuff happening at bottom here, as we're seeing the Siphon Filter just doing a ton of damage to Cho'Gath. And Shen coming in with the taunt right now, and we see Nasus there. Janna ultimate to try to push everything back here, but still he is ignited, so that ignite's going to mitigate all of that healing that was happening, and now that's why you're seeing Cho'Gath just drop. So that ignite on him completely ruined the Janna ultimate. Great timing and placement, but the ignite was a good counter for that, and that's how these guys are able to pick up that kill and do a little bit better at the bottom lane. So, and then at middle, Udyr's going to be defending this as Corky's going back to buy. Akali just trying to push him back there, so out of the experience and gold range. But back to what I was telling you guys about the top lane. If Tarek just allows this Vladimir to free farm, Vladimir's one of those champions that's a very strong AP carry later on in the game and can just dominate a team. I mean, you can see his Q spell, which is Transfusion, just take 4 or 5 bars there. As he now has the ult onto Tarek and chasing him down, pulling in there, and he's gets him with the Transfusion, but no, Shen with the ult in there, and Shen is now chasing him down. Look at that, Nunu sitting right around the corner with the ultimate, and these guys are just beating the heck out of Vladimir, and he was not able to escape. Sanguine pull on cooldown there from the initial attack as he initiated there. But he walks right into that. You see that as coming out of that, around that corner into the line of sight, Nunu already with that ultimate buffed out, started up, and he just drops, man. That was just some crazy stuff going on there as they had set that up. So it looks like Corky getting a little bit more passive there middle, seeing Shen come in from the corner upriver. And knowing that he has to back out there, that Shen taunt can be devastating, and it's not something that you want to run into, especially with a champion like Akali sitting there. But Akali only at 23 creep kills right now, compared to the 73 from Corky. So, just so you can get a good idea of exactly what's happened here at the middle lane, Corky has just annihilated Akali throughout this game so far. So the score being 3-3 right now, we are now 12 minutes, 9 seconds into the game. So let's start talking a little bit about item builds. Vladimir already picking up Magi Soul Stealer, so he's going to be snowballing it through this game. Any kind of unique items that I'm seeing here? Nothing out of the ordinary. Udyr with the Madrid's Razors, which is going to be built into a Wriggle's Lantern. A lot of warding that we're seeing from both teams here. Unfortunately, I can't see the warding from the blue team, but you can see a lot of the wards up here. That is still the key to this kind of game, any kind of MOBA game, is wards. So Udyr catching Nunu in the woods there, and he's going to follow him up with Tiger Stance and get that kill on him as he does Ghost, now using that Ghost to escape. I don't know what Akali really would have done to him. I don't think he would have had a problem surviving that. So another switcheroonie again as we see Nasus now as he's building a core item with his Sheen and picking up the Null Magic Mantle to give him a little bit of magic resist. He's then willing to take his chances back up at the top lane against Vladimir, who Vladimir, if you haven't seen it already, 91 is his creep score, and he has just dominated this top lane and even gone risky enough to go snowball items as we see him getting a little feud here with Nasus, but just a couple of those transfusions completely ripped that apart. Already with Sorcerer's Shoes, which is where you really begin to see a lot of the damage come out early in the game from Vladimir. Once you pick up those Sorcerer's Shoes, you see an extra bar and a half taken away from each one of those transfusions. So these guys are just kind of duking it out up at the top here. I mean, not really a lot to say. We've yet to see any kind of a real team fight. Just a couple of the off ganks here, and a lot of the boring laning phase that goes on. Luckily, League of Legends nowhere near as long of the laning phases games such as Dota or Han. So back to the bottom. Again, we're seeing Taric and Shen, two very, very tanky support champions here, and these guys are just doing what they can to harass. And I believe these guys have been shut out as well. Taric with 29 is his creep score, Shen with 35, and we see Janna with 30, Cho'Gath already with 52. So Cho'Gath taking the majority of the farm from the bottom lane, which is something that you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see that tank take the farm over the support easily, just because I've mentioned a couple times Janna's support. She's already built 3 Doran's Rings, so that's the core build here. She's going to finish her boots off, and she's good to go. Doran's Rings when she can. So a little bit about the items right now for the purple team. So we do see Taric building the Mana Manip into also a Kendall Gem, which is going to be built into a Soul Shroud. Kali picking up a Sheen as well, hoping for that little bit of extra damage here. Vladimir looks like he might have put himself into a bad situation here, as we do see Shen coming in for the ultimate, and looks like he's going to be picking up a save on somebody here. Nope, nobody really low enough, but the two of those guys, along with the Great Wither spell from Nasus, able to take down Vladimir. So yeah, Vladimir, you do have Sanguine Pool. You're able to overextend a little bit, but there still are circumstances where you're not a god, and this is exactly what happens when you're taken down. But these guys are catching Nunu here. Nunu just in a terrible position. I don't know what he was doing there. Shen trying to come up from behind, but there's going to be nothing that can happen. Nunu's just going to get annihilated here. And there we see the Gatling gun from Corki along with the Valkyrie, and that's just going to melt him like butter. And that kill, as you see everybody stopping attacking him, that's going to go straight to the carry, which is Corki. The sooner you can get him farmed up, the better off you're going to be. Akali attacking the top tower. It's not going to be long until Vlad's back up there. Corki heading up there as well. And battle supports there at the river as we see Janna and Taric taking each other on. And both coming back towards the bottom lane. At this time, you really need to bring somebody back to middle. So let's get somebody back to middle here. You guys aren't going to get that gank up to the top. Get Cho'Gath back to the bottom lane. Cho'Gath needs that farm, not Janna. I mean, yeah, Janna's a great champion. Give that farm to your tank, though, so you can have one of those great, devastating, unkillable Cho'Gaths at the end of this game. So Cho'Gath, yeah, he's getting farm from middle, but give that farm back up and get Janna out of here. There's no reason for her to take this solo farm here. So, basically, we're playing Ring Around the Rosie right now as we see Nasus coming in and defending middle. Akali now taking the top lane here. Cho'Gath catching something there in the woods. I don't know if I had seen it or not. But it's probably Nunu there as we see. Yep, there we go. Clairvoyance is out, catching a Nunu come around to the bush here. So we knew Nunu, Shen, and Taric are all 3 down here. Cho'Gath, seeing this happening, quickly rotating towards the bottom lane to make sure they have the proper defense up for the tower. And there we go, a little bit of action again at the top lane here as Vladimir with his ultimate off on Akali, and he may try to push this and see if he's able to get it, but I think she's going to escape there. She should really go back. Nasus there. Wards are saving lives. That is for sure. That's my motto of the day. Buy a ward, save a life. You see Nasus, Spirit Fire, and look at his health. His health is just going to drop here, basically because of Vlad right now. Vlad, I don't think he's at any stacks right now on the Soul Stealer. Corki coming up towards the top lane, but they are catching Nunu following him right now. Missing the ultimate there, but then we're seeing it follow up immediately with the Gatling gun, and they're just trying to beat him down. Nasus coming from the other way now. These guys are definitely really separated. That's putting them in a bad situation. Shen trying to ultimate in right now, but these guys are not in a very good spot. Even though they're outnumbered here, Corki and Vladimir both are going to have great ways that's going to be able to take these guys down. So there we see Vladimir. This is a lot of action going on at once here. Vladimir's able to chase down Nasus and kill him. Corki being caught into the Nunu ult there, and these guys are just going to beat away at him as Nunu flashes away. He's trying to escape right now. Flash followed up by Corki with the big one as they are able to take down Nunu. What a shot there as he just eats the big one and is demolished by that. Akali trying to come up here for any kind of follow-up, but she can't go in on this because Vladimir and Corki will destroy her. 8-4 right now, the current score, 18 minutes and 14 seconds in. The purple team doing a phenomenal job here with early game zoning and definitely with the warding and the ganking throughout this game. But this could be bad news as Mike has left the game, and that is Vladimir. If Vladimir is gone, purple team will lose this game. So they need him to come back. Baby, come back. So let's go ahead and while we got a little bit of downtime here, not a lot of action happening, let's go back and look at some item builds. Corki building that Tear of the Goddess into Mana Immune and using that as one of his core items. Ruby Crystal's his next pickup here. We didn't see Vladimir going towards his next core item, Ryal's Crystal Scepter. Janna has now finally built four Doran's Rings, Merc Treads, and she's just going to be warding with the rest of her gold throughout the game. Wriggle's Lantern has been built by Udyr, and we do see some action down here in the river right now, as they are able to catch Nasus and Shen off guard. So this is Cho'Gath and Udyr trying to take down Nasus and Shen. Nunu is coming up right now, but so is Janna as well. So the shield needs to quickly go on to Udyr, which it was able to do, and they're able to take him down. So now we got to try to go on a save here. Flash in from Janna, ultimate from Janna as well, and that's going to allow these guys to escape. Shen going to try to for a follow-up stun, and these guys aren't going to be able to do anything other than lose a teammate and put Nunu in a bad spot. These guys are just beating the hell out of him, and he's being forced out of the fight. So these three guys are here. And look at this, Corki now comes in here as well, and they're just destroying him. Corki in with the Gatling gun, and we have just seen him melt like butter, and he's going to chase that Shen down and pick up that kill as well, landing that Phosphorus Bomb. But wow, did we just see that Tarek, his health just melting to these guys, because I believe he was eaten by Cho'Gath, and then that Gatling gun from Corki, just melting them like butter. And now Nunu putting himself into a bad spot. He needs to back away because this tower is down and he's not going to be able to defend it. So he just needs to realize that to be safe, he needs to dip out of here. And there they go, able to push down that middle tower. 20 minutes into this game right now. 12-4 is the score. Purple team, which is Team Tibbers, again, just dominating this part in the early game, and it's definitely showing to pay off to them towards the middle and late game here. So Vladimir again building his Ryals. Cho'Gath, Aegis of the Legion, very strong item for Cho'Gath to build. Helps with armor and magic resistance. And you get that nice little aura which is going to benefit Corki. So that's even more damage that's going to be tossed on him. So let's look at Corki pre-buffs as he's at 178. Once he gets a shield put on him, and then obviously he's getting that extra 12 damage being added on from the Aegis of the Legion. We're going to be seeing him at some solid damage with very low items. And Tarek and Nasus coming up here as they're trying to commit here, but they're going to get the Baron, and this puts these guys in a really bad situation. Shen ult coming in now, but these guys are going to be dropping like flies here as we see Tarek beginning to chase up towards the top. Shen trying to chase down Vladimir. And these guys are just destroying him. Shen, why is he running in there? That is just crazy, silly, stupid move there as he runs in there and he's now dying. And these guys are going to chase down Nunu. Trying to get up to him. We see people ghosting. We see a lot of stuff happening. And we see Akali here. And Nunu ults as these guys are walking right into it. But no, taking off there from a stun. So Nunu does not have that Banshee's Veil built, and that puts him in a really bad spot, as he has no way to mitigate any of these stunts, and Udyr not having a problem just taking him out of that ultimate before it has a chance to do any kind of real damage. 17-5 the score right now. Purple team is dominating. Corki 5-0, Vladimir 5-2, Udyr 5-1. And these guys, their highest person on their team is going to be Akali 3-2-0. Still only at 57 creep kills now. Corki almost 100 CS ahead, as we are now 22 minutes into the game. So that's just kind of an idea to let you know exactly what's happened in this mid game. As Corki, if you're just not tuning in, Corki did take on Akali there at the beginning and just annihilated her in middle, which has definitely set the pace. And then we see Vladimir destroyed Nasus up top. So that's why we're seeing these guys at the scores that they are. I'm just kind of curious what we're at for stacks here. 11 stacks right now on Vladimir, so he's getting some good AP from that, as he's at 361 right now. Finishes up his Ryle's Crystal Scepter and picking up the needlessly large rod, which is going to be built into Rabbit and his Death Cap, and be even more AP for him. So they have Baron. They're now grabbing Dragon as well. Clairvoyance out on towards the red buff, seeing if these guys were going to push up here and try to cause any kind of drama or a fight, or just get beat again. So the ward's all in very good places. This ward here, one of my favorite places. I do prefer it up a little bit more to where my cursor is, because then you get an entire view of the four-way. But where they've got it at is definitely a good spot, because not only do you get some river view, you still get a little bit of that crossing as well. So very, very solid ward here.
Unstoppable.
So you see all of the major spots here warded, so they do have complete line of sight of the jungle. Which is one thing that this team has done very, very well with throughout this game. Has just been some amazing warding. So now, without any kind of problems, they immediately go towards the bottom tower, and they're going to be able to destroy that. No problems at all. So let's see exactly what Corki's going to do, because it looks like they're going to try to do something here. Looks like Corki's going to grab that creep, that farm in the middle lane. And these guys are just going to cause some damage here. And this is basically a distraction, so Corki can push up and take this tower down as well. But no, these guys are deciding to commit and fight. We do see a Vladimir ultimate off. Kali running into her shot, and she is taken down here. Nunu with an ultimate off, and that should be the thing that ends Udyr. Udyr going down. Vladimir, look at how much damage that is doing to Nasus. Every single Q spell taking away 4, 5, 6 bars on some of those hits and just destroying them. Vladimir, what does that put him at? He is now at 20 stacks along with a blue buff, so he has maxed his CDR at this point, and you can definitely tell he's up to 436 AP and hasn't even finished his Rabadons yet. This game is over. These guys don't have much of a chance of coming back to this and winning this. Vlad is farmed. Corki is super fed as well. And they have Janna, so Janna's going to be able to keep any kind of damage from happening to both of these guys. So here we see, just so you can get a good idea, look at how much that every time that hits, that's 3, 4, sometimes 5 bars. And we're going to see Akali. Look at that, and she just goes down. And again, oh my gosh, Vladimir has so much farm this game. He is just single-handedly destroying this team right now. So much damage every hit, as we see him pull in, hit that transfusion, and kill Nasus as well.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
And this is over. We are 25 minutes, 22 seconds in, and I'm surprised that we have not seen the surrender vote yet, as they are at the nexus here. Middle inhibitor and bottom inhibitors both taken down. Final look at the item builds here. Trinity Force coming out of Corki. Needlessly large rod, still the only thing that Vladimir's got. Obviously, he does have enough for his Rabadons. No strong items really on the purple team here, as we do see Hextech Revolver being picked up by Akali. But this is very much over, guys. I just wanted to kind of give you a quick rundown analysis of all of the items here and what was going on. But this is over. Team Tibbers coming out with a W on this match, guys. Thank you for joining me. Once again, my name is Pat, that's Wiz Harrison, and I am with E-Rev TV. Feel free to check out any of our other casts at www.e-rev.tv. And thanks again for joining me. Adios.